Alright, this is Jeff with AMC Pressure Washing. Before I start this video, I want to say that what I'm doing here is I'm giving guys ideas how to set up their pressure washing rig. Mine just mounted in the back of my Silverado. I have a full-time job. I work 4 10-hour days at Comcast. I've been there 10 years, make $65,000 a year there, full benefits, 401k match, all the good perks. But I wanted something 2 years ago to where I could make extra money. I used to do this when I was in high school and college, so I decided to go back to doing it on my own. So I got a DBA, had my business cards made up, had a business logo made up, got insurance, went out, spent some money to get some equipment. So this is how I have mine set up. In the back of my truck, I have a garden hose reel, which is 3/4 inch mean green, 100 foot, and then over here I have a high pressure hose, which is 200 foot. I have two 100 footers connected together to make 200 foot of Simpson 4500 psi monster hose. I got it mounted on an MTM reel. I got this on a Liberty garden hose reel. I got this at Home Depot for 105 bucks. It came with wheels and like a push cart thing that it was mounted to. I took that and threw that in the garbage, and I mounted it like this. They have another one which is tan, which is what I wanted originally for 70 bucks, and it was set up exactly how mine is right now, with just the base and the reel. But for some reason, the black version came with wheels and a cart, so I had to spend an extra 30 bucks. To get black, or I could have painted it, but whatever. Alright, I mounted it to a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, painted it black, 1/2 inch bolts through the bed, galvanized. This year I'm going to remove these 1/2 inch bolts because it takes 2 people to remove this from my truck. It takes me about 5 minutes to do it, but I want to be able to do it by myself. So I'm going to replace these with 1/2 inch galvanized cotter pins. So it comes with a bolt with holes in it, and then the cotter pin slides in and pulls out. So under my truck, I can just slide my pin in and pull it out, and then remove the bolt, and then lift everything out of my truck. But yeah, as of right now, it takes 2 people, 1 person to hold a ratchet on top, and then one to go under. But I can do it in 5 minutes. And I use all galvanized, which is 3/8, and I mounted these bolts up because I have a plastic mat back here in the truck. So it's not going to scratch my bed or anything, and it gives me a little bit of cushion. But it's stout. It ain't going nowhere. The MTM hose reel, I'm really impressed with it. I really like it. It's got a locking mechanism right here, so you can roll it and then lock it in place so it doesn't come undone. My pressure washer that I have is a Simpson 3200 psi, 3 gallon per minute sheen. 200 cc's. It's got a 5-year warranty with the motor and a 10-year warranty with the frame, all aluminum. It's not bad. This year or next year, I might go next year. I want to go with the belt-driven pump. It's about a $2,000 machine that I want. But this right here does exactly what I want for what I do. I do 1 to 2 jobs a week. Most jobs that I do are about 300 bucks. Typically, it takes me a few hours, half day's worth of work. I just did a job the other day for 300 bucks. I washed the house and cleaned their back patio. They had a brick patio. Cleaned it in about 3 hours, roughly. Did it all by myself, and I use this surface cleaner right here. This thing works great for the money. When I buy my next pressure washer, I will spend about $500 to $800 on a surface cleaner and get it all done at once. I got 2 guns, Raptor Blaster, a 4-footer, and then I had the one that came with the pressure washer, which isn't bad. I don't like that. I don't really care for that pressure gauge they have, or a pressure. You can twist it to go down to 1,000 pounds or all the way up for your full pressure. Problem with that thing is you always bump it or move it as you're washing, so I really don't care for it that much. I do X-Jet houses, Keep in mind I have a tonneau cover, so it covers my whole bed, so everything's covered. Let me lift this up if I can with one hand. Okay. So this is what I have. I got my leaf blower, my gas cans back here, my cleaner, my solution, you know, the SH. I used the 10%. Sometimes I can get 12. Depending on how heavy I want to mix it, 10% works just fine for me. There's the X-Jet system, or the pail system. And over there I have the X-Jet M5 with 3/8 hose with a shut-off valve to it. I really like the X-Jet. I'm 29, I'm 30 years old this year. Some guys are like, you know, I don't want to be lugging that thing around, I'm getting too old, blah, blah, blah. I want a downstream. Downstream's fine, in my opinion. That's what I would do if it was my full-time job. But with it not being my full-time job, and with me only doing one job a week, at 2 jobs at most, I don't want to ruin my hoses. The hoses can get expensive if you're not really turning a lot of money. Roughly last year I made about $20,000 in the summer. I plan on doing the same thing this summer, and I did it with this setup right here. That right there is my water filter. The quick connect to my pump, and let me say that that machine is a great machine for the price. That's the best machine on the market, in my opinion, for the price. You can't beat that thing. First pull every time, fires right up. My thermal valve, or the valve, has never kicked on. It's a great machine. I use pump saver in it after every use, though. I don't care if it's 90 degrees or 50. I use pump saver, and I have pump saver on a quick connect. That way I don't have to, because otherwise I'd have to unscrew it from my pump, or I'd have to unscrew my quick connect that I have already on my pump, which is a pain in the ass. So I got a quick connect. I use the Briggs & Stratton, and then I twist on a quick connect to that, and then pop it on there, squirt it, and then pull it off. Sorry if I'm talking a little fast here. I'm trying to get this recorder before it gets dark. I live in Michigan, so it's getting dark here pretty quick right now. But this is my setup. Don't mind the golf cart batteries. I'm actually taking those to swap out for my golf cart here this weekend, which is like $800, which I really don't want to do, but it's time. It's been 7 years, and it's time for some new batteries. I do have the on the end of this hose, I do have the I don't know what this thing is, the swivel, I guess. So when you're pressure washing, you don't have to keep untangling the hose. Which is nice on your wrist. I like it a lot. It was about $30, but it's well worth it. The ones that come on like the end of this hose, they're all right, but they stick. But this thing is real butter smooth. But yeah, I think it's a pretty elaborate setup for what for how I have it mounted, and don't have to have a trailer, and with my tonneau cover. I pull up the job sometimes, and customers are like, "I thought you were doing my job. I thought you were going to wash my house today." And I'm like, "I am." They're like, "Well, where's your equipment?" And I open up the back of my truck, and they're like, "That is really slick." I've had a couple people actually, say, my nephew could do this, or and they're all like, could you help him out or something? And it's like, no, but I can give them tips. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of compliments on it. It's just real convenient. I can, go do a job and come back and park my truck in my garage and call it good. My thing, I would say, with the garden hose, I did have the 5/8 before, the Never Kink from Lowe's. That shit it worked, but it was garbage. The reason I say that is because it's heavy, first of all. The Mean Green is way more flexible. It's a third of the weight. And actually this year what I got to do is I'm going to put a quick connect right here, because I don't like how it pinches right here when I have it sitting. I mean, it's not gonna ruin it or anything. Every time I unroll my spool of hose, it pops right back like normal. But I don't want this right here. Because this hose reel, they say it's made for a 3/4 inch hose at 150 feet, but you're not getting 150 feet on this hose reel. You're getting this is 100 foot, and this is basically maxed out. And the bend radius is not the greatest on this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a quick connect right here, get it started. Once I get it all wrapped up, then I can just quick connect it and then let it, you know, float in the air, and then it won't be bent. But that's what I'm going to do though. And I got this unhooked right now because, like I said, I got my golf cart batteries in here. But yeah, it works out pretty nice. I mean, it's a pretty sweet setup, you know. I quick connect that to my pump. Oh yeah, and then over here, so I can't really see it though because I have my golf cart batteries back there. Got a quick connect down here for my, you know, for my leader hose off my pump, and then that wraps around to my inlet of my pressure washer. But I have it mounted. If you look, I got a little bracket right here to keep it, so that way when I'm on and off the trigger, it's not just flopping around. And this actually helps out a lot because before I was, you know, on and off the trigger, this thing was moving a lot, and I mean, it's not going to damage anything, but it's just, I don't know, I'm kind of OCD about my stuff, so I wanted it nice and secure where nothing's going to be flopping around or anything like that, you know. But yeah, I like it. It's pretty cool. Last year I was pulling hoses by hand, and then I said, you know what, screw this. I went and got hose reels, and then those ones weren't working out, so then I mounted this towards the end of the year, and it's worked out flawless. I love it. It's very simple, very easy to work. I was going to turn this sideways to where I could park curbside and then pull this over top of my truck, like on the side right here, to where the hose reels would come out over the tires. But the thing about that is I was trying to find like a rubber mat that I could lay over top of my side of my truck, because I didn't want to scratch my paint, and I didn't want to have the fittings dinging that shit up, because I know it will. Even I don't care how careful you are, you're still, those damn fittings will hit the truck and I'll be pissed. So maybe when I can find me a nice thick rubber mat or something to drape over it and then pull my hoses, I'll do that. But for now, I'm gonna just pull them out the back of the truck. Works good. Reason being, I wanted to mount it sideways. That way I could put my pressure washer in the back of my truck. So if I wanted to, like for instance, change my oil or my pump oil on my pressure washer, I don't have to lift it over my hose reels. I can just, you know, slide it out to my tailgate and then push it back and call it good. Got my little toolbox with all my quick connects, O-rings, you know, the tools to pull out your O-rings, chan locks, pipe dope, filter screen if you wanted to drop in the bucket, downstream, which I don't. Just stuff that you would need on a job site. And it works pretty good. Yeah, this is my setup. I wanted to give some guys some ideas, you know, if they wanted to make a little extra money in the summertime, or they wanted to get something going, a college student or something, you know. Total investment between my business cards, my DBA, you know, from, you know, to where I'm sitting now, I got probably about 3 to 4 grand into it. Nothing more than 4 for sure. When I say 4 grand, that's because I have my insurance, which is like $1,100 a year. I can't find it really cheap in Michigan. Pressure washing insurance is like, I just can't get a limited liability for pressure washing. They won't do it. My buddy does mason work, and he gets limited liability for like $600 to $800 a year. I can't find anything. The cheapest I found was $1,100, and it was actually online. And it wasn't even through an insurance agent in Michigan. It was through a insurance agent in Pennsylvania. But yeah, it was like almost $1,100. But if you don't do insurance, I'm sure you could get in. You know, you could do exactly what I have, my rig and everything set up for 3 grand. Business cards. You know, I got, for what I do, my invoices and everything. I went to Office Max, and I have have invoices like this. Oops, I'm gonna spin this around and see if I can show you guys. Right here, you know, they're just carbon copied, and I can fill in whatever I need to for rate, you know, everything, invoice number, date, who the, the customer, and then I also have my invoices here, and then I have my proposal sheets, which allows me to start work on a job. Customer gets a copy, I get a copy, and I thought that was a good idea, just to have carbon copies. That way I didn't have to, because some people I was emailing them and then they weren't printing them off and giving them to me, so it's like I want one for myself. So on the job site, you know, I have them sign it before I start work. Covers myself, you know. That way they can't come back and say, you know, I never gave the guy permission to do work on my house and he damaged this or damaged that. No, you signed my document giving me permission to start job. And, you know, so, and then I got my business cards. These are the new ones I got this year. I went with the foil look and the gloss look. Well, I had gloss last year, but the foil, I really like that foil. It shines. Like my lettering AMC, and they're really sharp. I feel like I can zoom in on this thing. There you go. See, that's like really sharp. But anyways, and then I got my mileage book, of course. Yeah, some people are like, how are you making any money when you gotta pay, you gotta pay, your insurance, and you gotta pay your, your taxes and stuff on a job. How you making money? Well, last year I made 20 grand, and a lot of it's tax write-off because it's a small business. I'm not clearing over 30. I'm not clearing over 40. A lot of it's a write-off. For instance, like all my equipment is a write-off. All my chemical is a write-off. My mileage on my truck, that's a write-off. I even had like business shirts and stuff made up too. That's all a write-off. And when I say 3 to 4 grand, I'm talking that's getting like your nice like your work shirts and stuff like that made up too. But yeah, it's not a bad little business. I just wanted to give you guys some pointers, or I don't know, pointers. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how to set up a pressure washing truck on a low budget, if you want to do it like as a secondary job for extra cash or something like that, because I think mine's pretty cool. I mean, I really do. Some of the professionals may say, they don't agree with how I have it set up. Well, that's their opinion. But if I was a full-time pressure washer, which in Michigan you can't be because of the winters, then I would say, yeah, I would definitely have a trailer. I would definitely have Cox reels. I would definitely have a heated pressure washer, 13 to 20 horse motor. I mean, I would do it big and go big or go home is the way I look at it. But for what I do, 5 months out of the year, making 20 grand, I stain decks too. Decks are where I make a lot of my money. Decks are because I pressure wash them and then I stain them, and I brush, I brush them by hand and stuff. And decks are where I make my money. They're more time consuming because I got to go back twice. I can pressure wash them, in a couple hours, done and out, But staining them, I got to go back all day and stain. But that's where I make my money, Decks, I just did one the other day, was $850, and it was a 14 by 16 deck with a long set of stairs with spindles and everything. And some people are kind of like, that's a lot for a deck. Well, it's really not, because I see all these guys charge, I'll do your deck for $200-300. What are you doing? You're an idiot. Like, you're putting people like me that are trying to make money out of business, and you're screwing yourself, and then you do a shit job. And then these real professionals, that are doing pressure washing in the summer for a full job, you're really pissing them off. So this, these guys that are doing decks for, for $10, maybe $8, $10 an hour, you're screwing yourself. I had a customer the other day. I bid this deck wrapped around the back of their house, and I told them, I said, $2,700 to pressure wash it and stain it. And they were like, holy crap, But I told them, I said, it's a lot of work. I said, and I do it right. We're gonna strip it down, we're gonna brighten it. We're gonna, I use Super Deck. I said we're gonna use a quality stain. I'm not gonna go use, a $15 a gallon stain. I'm not using that junk. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. And he was like, really? And he said, well, tell you what, we're gonna have to wait, another month or so, and we'll go ahead and do it. Is he gonna do it? Probably not. But he actually called me, actually a few days ago, and asked me if I still wanted to do it. And I said, yeah. I said, but it's up to you. As far as the price, because you're trying to get me to come down on the price, and I just told him there's no way. It's, first of all, his deck's elevated in the air, so more than half the work's in the air. That's why I bidded it so high, because it's not on the ground. If it's on the ground, sure, I can knock some price off. But when I'm working on a ladder, no. If I got a pressure wash in the in the air on scaffolding and stuff like that, you're being charged, buddy. But decks are where I'm making money. I would, if I could charge more for houses and wash houses, I'd do that all day long. Because houses are in and out, a couple hours done. And that's my dog's going off. But some people just don't want to pay the money to have their house washed, so I mean, you got to kind of work with them with that. But I can, I don't have to charge what big companies do, like down south, if that, if that's what they do, on a full-time basis. But now I'm just rambling on over nothing. So I'm gonna get off here, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea on how to set something up. Next year I might do a trailer, because I want to get a heater pressure washer. I do, but it won't fit in the back of my truck, and I'm not putting a grandpa topper on my truck. So I might do like a 5x7 enclosed, and then have it in a trailer, and then go from there. And if I did that, I'd probably do like a quick connect on my ball. I want to have just a normal ball. I'd have a quick back in that locks in, and you go. Like I said, I have a full-time job now, so this is just extra money that I do in the summer. It pays for my because I go out of state whitetail hunting, and every year. Last year I went to 2 different states, so this is just my toy money, and I enjoy it. It's not bad work. It's a little, yes, it is labor work, but I find it gratifying. So either way, I'll put some more videos on here if I can, here within the next week or two. But the temperature, it dropped. It's like down in like 40. It's supposed to get down to like 30, like 35 or something tonight. It's supposed to get cold the next couple days. So the jobs I got lined up are gonna have to wait till next week or until it gets above 50. I won't pressure wash if it's if it's not above 50. It's just too cold for me to do it. Some guys will be like, I won't even do it if it's if it's not below if it's not above 60. But I live in Michigan, so. But either way, I'm out of here. So I'll post some more later on.